Hi. So today I had the opportunity to speak with a bunch of PR students in their senior level PR students, and it was incredible. That's why I waited. I knew that if I did this video before I talked to them, it would be okay. It would be good. It would be it would be like a good daily Vicks. You'd get a great tip. We'd move on. But for me, there's something about speaking with the new generation, and that's what Vicks in the City is. Vicks in the City, produced by Creative X Media. All of my projects, whether it's the business, Creative X Media, or Vicks in the City, my content pursuit, it's all about finding your voice and finding what makes your heart sing. I know that may sound a little bit corny, but to me, it's about finding the way to brand yourself and use your brand to do good for others. So something that I talked to the students about today was the 5 W's and an H. And if you took current events in any Catholic school, I'm sure you also learned this. Okay, so here we go. When you're trying to think of the best way to write a Twitter strategy, Twitter specifically, could be for Facebook. I guess really it could be for any platform. But what I was talking to the students about was Twitter, because that was their assignment. So I started with that. So when you're gonna write a campaign, which could be post for a month, post for a specific event, maybe it's just post to keep your content going while you're away or busy, whatever it is, you're writing posts, you're trying to figure out what the best piece of content is, or what the best pieces of content are to share your message. You start with who. This is something that I learned from a colleague of mine, and it was to write personas. Personas help you figure out who your audience is. What do? Do they go to SoulCycle every day? Do they get Starbucks? Maybe they wear clothes from the Gap and hang out on their stoop at night. It's an interesting exercise, and while I've done it in a formal way before, when I worked at an agency, there are other ways to do it, and this is kind of how I do it now, where it's a little bit less formal. I don't sit and actually write them out unless I have to, but most times for me it's just about, okay, I'm gonna write this content. Who's gonna read it? Who is the audience? Okay, what's the goal? Is the goal more followers? Is the goal getting people to the website? Is the goal newsletter signups? Is the goal opt-ins for a product or a program? Or do you want them to buy something? What's the goal? Okay, where are you leading them? What is the goal? Where is the path? Where is the path to achieve your goal? So where are you leading them? To a landing page? Do you want them to consume a piece of content in Twitter? Do you want them to watch a video in Twitter? Do you want them to retweet? Is the ultimate goal to keep them in the social network? Do you want them to comment on the Facebook post? That where can be achieved in a variety of ways. And that's something that I'll talk about in my social media course, because I really think a deep dive in content types, and how you pick which content type based on what the path is really important. Which content type you use based on the end goal and the path that you're leading them to is really important. Then you say when. Do I have a month to do this? Do I have 2 weeks to do this? Do I, God forbid, have 2 days? Which is very stressful. So, maybe you have a year. Maybe you have a whole year of content that you get to write, and you get to work on this plan, and you get to focus on a year's worth of lead up for a content push or a campaign. That's awesome. You'll never get that. I mean, maybe in some cases, but that to me seems like a very utopian view of digital media. So think about how long you have. The amount of call to actions, like read this, watch this, click this, learn more. The amount of call to actions you use per campaign cycle will depend on how long the campaign is. Why? What resonates with this audience? What does this audience want to click? What kind of content does this audience consume? That kind of goes back to who they are, what they do, their personas. But I think that if you think about why they would click on something, or why they would follow the path that you created, I think that is really important. Then how? How are you gonna do this campaign? Are you gonna put it on Facebook? Are you gonna put it on Twitter? Are you gonna put it on both? Are Facebook ads gonna be included? That is the 5 W's and an H of building a social media campaign strategy. It came to me today, honestly. It came to me as I was talking to these students, and I was like, you know what? that is a good way to describe it to them. And that's what I focus on when I train people. What is in your world? What is in your world that you can understand for me to give you a comparison of what's in my world, in the digital world? What's the best way to explain the way that we're going to create something based on something that you have a point of reference for? I hope that this was helpful. 5 W's and an H. It's not just for grammar school.